Welcome, dear friends, to a space where healing begins, where vulnerability is cherished, and where new narratives are bravely forged. If you found yourself here, it's likely because your heart carries the echoes of a love that has ended, a relationship that has fractured, or a marriage that has dissolved. Perhaps you're navigating the bewildering landscape of a breakup or divorce, feeling adrift, lost, and wondering how to reclaim the woman you once were. Or perhaps discover an even stronger version of yourself. This journey, I assure you, is not one you walk alone. Many have trod this path before, and with guidance, compassion, and a deep dive into your inner landscape, you too will find your way to wholeness. Before we delve deeper into this transformative process, if you find solace and strength in these discussions, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Your support helps us reach more hearts in need of healing and hope. Today, we confront the raw, often overwhelming wave of emotions that washes over us when a significant relationship concludes. The initial shock, the searing pain, the suffocating grief. These are not merely feelings. They are visceral experiences that can leave us feeling disoriented, as if a fundamental part of our world has crumbled. One might describe it as a profound sense of amputation, a limb lost, leaving an aching void where connection once thrived. This isn't an exaggeration. As Dr. Gabor Maté often reminds us, emotional pain is real pain, deeply intertwined with our physical and neurological systems. Our brains, wired for connection and attachment, register the loss of a partner as a threat to our very survival, triggering a cascade of stress responses. Consider the woman who, after years of shared dreams and intertwined lives, suddenly finds herself facing an empty side of the bed. Her name might be Sarah. For Sarah, the initial days were a blur of tears and disbelief. Every corner of her home seemed to whisper his name, every shared memory a fresh wound. She found herself replaying conversations, dissecting every word, searching for clues, for warnings she might have missed. The future, once a vibrant tapestry woven with two threads, now appeared a stark, blank canvas, intimidating in its emptiness. This intense rumination is a common, albeit exhausting, stage of grief. It's our mind's desperate attempt to make sense of the senseless, to impose order on chaos. Then there's Maria, whose divorce left her not just heartbroken, but utterly depleted of self-worth. Her identity had become so deeply enmeshed with her role as a wife, a partner, that without it, she felt like a fragmented reflection in a broken mirror. Esther Perel's work often highlights how relationships shape our individual identities. And when they end, it's not just the person we lose, but often a significant part of who we believed ourselves to be. Maria struggled with feelings of failure, shame, and a gnawing fear that she was somehow unlovable. She avoided social gatherings, fearing the inevitable questions and the pity in people's eyes. Her once vibrant spirit dimmed, replaced by a pervasive sense of inadequacy. Both Sarah and Maria represent countless women grappling with the aftermath of emotional rupture. The feelings they experience, the sadness, the anger, the confusion, the profound loneliness, are not signs of weakness, but rather natural responses to a significant loss. As Carl Jung taught us, the psyche seeks balance, and these difficult emotions, though painful, are part of the process of integration. Suppressing them only prolongs the healing. Instead, we must acknowledge them, allow them to surface, and begin to understand their messages. The journey through this emotional labyrinth requires immense courage. It demands that we sit with discomfort, that we confront the narratives we've built around our relationships and ourselves, and that we bravely begin to dismantle those that no longer serve us. This initial phase is about acknowledging the pain, not escaping it. It's about giving yourself permission to grieve, to feel every raw emotion without judgment. This is not self-indulgence. It is a vital step in laying the foundation for true healing. We are not aiming for instant recovery, for as Tony Robbins often emphasizes, Lasting transformation is a process, not an event. It requires commitment, consistency, and a willingness to lean into the discomfort of growth. In the midst of this emotional storm, it's easy to lose sight of hope, to feel as though joy will never return. But just as the darkest hour precedes the dawn, this period of profound grief holds the seeds of profound transformation. It is an invitation, however unwelcome, to turn inward, to reconnect with your deepest self, and to rediscover the strength and resilience that lies within you, often dormant, waiting to be awakened. This isn't about forgetting the past, but about integrating it into a richer, more profound understanding of who you are and what you are capable of enduring and overcoming. This journey of healing is not a linear path, but a spiral, often revisiting old wounds, yet each revolution brings you closer to the light. This journey of healing is not a linear path, but a spiral, often revisiting old wounds, yet each revolution brings you closer to the light. It is in these moments of vulnerability that true strength is forged, a strength rooted not in the absence of pain, but in the unwavering commitment to move through it. The initial shock gives way to a phase often characterized by a bewildering array of emotions. One day, a woman might feel a surge of anger, a burning indignation at the perceived injustice of her situation. The next, she might be enveloped by a profound sadness, a melancholic fog that settles deep within her bones. Then, perhaps, a fleeting moment of clarity, a glimpse of a future unburdened by the past, only to be quickly overshadowed by fear and anxiety about the unknown. This emotional roller coaster is entirely normal, a natural oscillation as the mind and heart grapple with immense change. Consider the common trap of self-blame that often accompanies such losses. If only I had done more. If only I had been different. What did I do wrong? These questions, while understandable, can become corrosive, eroding self-esteem and trapping one in a cycle of regret. From a Christian perspective, we are reminded of grace and forgiveness, not just for others, but for ourselves. God's love is unconditional, and this includes granting ourselves the same compassion. Gabor Maté's insights into trauma highlight how early experiences can shape our self-perception, making us prone to internalizing blame. Unpacking these ingrained patterns requires gentle self-inquiry and a commitment to reframe the narrative. It's about recognizing that while we may have played a part, we are not solely responsible for the actions of another, nor are we defined by the outcome of a relationship. Another prevalent challenge is the temptation to isolate oneself. The pain can feel so overwhelming, so personal, that the natural instinct might be to retreat, to withdraw from friends and family. While a period of solitude can be beneficial for reflection and healing, prolonged isolation can be detrimental. It can amplify feelings of loneliness, foster negative thought patterns, and deprive one of the vital support system necessary for recovery. Mel Robbins, with her emphasis on action, would urge us to push past this inertia, to take small, deliberate steps towards connection, even when it feels incredibly difficult. Reaching out to a trusted friend, joining a support group, or even simply engaging in a brief positive interaction can begin to shift the emotional landscape. The practicalities of moving forward can also be daunting. For many women, identity was intertwined with their partner, not just emotionally, but logistically. Shared finances, social circles, even daily routines can feel irrevocably altered. This can lead to a sense of being adrift, unsure of how to navigate the new terrain. It's crucial to acknowledge these practical hurdles without allowing them to paralyze progress. Breaking down large tasks into smaller, manageable steps can be incredibly empowering. For instance, instead of feeling overwhelmed by the entire financial restructuring, focus on one small action each day, like reviewing a bank statement or researching a budget tool. This methodical approach, championed by many productivity experts, including aspects of Tony Robbins' teachings on consistent action, helps rebuild a sense of control and competence. Moreover, the void left by a significant relationship can often lead to a profound spiritual questioning. Why did this happen? What is my purpose now? For those of faith, this can be a time of intense prayer and seeking spiritual guidance. For others, it might be an opportunity to explore new philosophies, to delve into mindfulness practices, or to reconnect with nature. This period of reevaluation is not a sign of weakness, but a powerful indicator of growth. It is the soul's yearning for deeper meaning, a search for an anchor in the midst of a storm. Embracing this spiritual quest, whatever form it takes, can provide immense comfort and a renewed sense of direction. It is a time to remember that while earthly relationships may falter, there is an enduring, spiritual connection that remains steadfast. This deeper connection can become a wellspring of inner peace and resilience, a constant source of strength to draw upon as one slowly but surely rebuilds. This isn't about replacing one dependency with another, but about cultivating an inner sanctuary, a place of unwavering solace. This internal sanctuary, often neglected during the hustle and bustle of a partnership, becomes a crucial resource for navigating the emotional labyrinth of a breakup. It's a space where one can reconnect with core values and beliefs, reinforcing the inherent worth that exists independently of any romantic relationship. This re-evaluation of self-worth is paramount. Many women find that their sense of value became inextricably linked to their partner's perception or the relationship's status. When that external validation is removed, a deep chasm can appear. Jungian psychology speaks to the importance of individuation, the process of becoming a whole and distinct person. A breakup, while painful, can be a powerful catalyst for this journey, forcing an examination of who one truly is, separate from the roles played within a relationship. It is an opportunity to reclaim parts of the self that may have been suppressed or compromised, to rediscover passions and interests that were set aside. The anger that often accompanies a breakup is another potent force that requires careful handling. It can manifest as resentment towards the ex-partner, bitterness about the lost future, or even self-directed fury for perceived mistakes. While it's natural to feel anger, allowing it to fester can be corrosive, poisoning the healing process. Esther Perel often discusses the complexities of emotional landscapes within relationships and their endings, suggesting that anger, when understood, can be a protective mechanism, a boundary being drawn. The challenge lies in transforming this destructive energy into something constructive. Instead of dwelling on what was lost, one can channel that intensity into advocating for oneself, setting new boundaries, and pursuing personal growth. This doesn't mean suppressing the anger, but rather acknowledging its presence, understanding its roots, and then consciously choosing how to respond to it. Journaling, talking to a trusted friend or therapist, or even engaging in physical activity can be cathartic ways to process this emotion without allowing it to consume one entirely. Forgiveness, both for the ex-partner and for oneself, is a profound, albeit often challenging step in the healing journey. It's a concept deeply rooted in Christian values, emphasizing release from bitterness and resentment. Forgiveness is not about condoning the actions of another or forgetting the pain caused. Rather, it's about liberating oneself from the emotional chains of anger and hurt. It's a conscious decision to let go of the desire for retribution and to open the door to peace. This can be a gradual process, not a singular event. It may involve wrestling with difficult emotions, revisiting painful memories, and consistently choosing compassion over bitterness. Gabor Maté's work on trauma and healing often highlights how unresolved emotional wounds can manifest physically and mentally. By actively working towards forgiveness, one contributes to their own holistic well-being, shedding a heavy burden that impedes forward movement. Rebuilding a social life and discovering new sources of joy are also vital components of moving on. The social circles often intertwine with a relationship, and a breakup can leave a vacuum. This is not a time to shrink away, but to bravely expand one's horizons. It might mean reconnecting with old friends, pursuing new hobbies, or joining groups that align with rediscovered interests. The goal is to cultivate a rich and diverse support network that reflects one's individual identity, rather than relying solely on the remnants of a shared social life. Tony Robbins' emphasis on creating empowering states can be incredibly useful here. By intentionally seeking out activities that bring genuine pleasure and connection, one actively shifts their emotional state from one of deficit to one of abundance. This could be anything from learning a new skill, volunteering, or simply spending time in nature. These actions, however small, contribute to a renewed sense of purpose and joy, demonstrating that happiness is not solely dependent on a romantic partner. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, is the commitment to self-love and self-care. This isn't merely about superficial pampering, it's about cultivating a deep, abiding respect and affection for oneself. It involves prioritizing physical health through nutrition and exercise, nurturing mental well-being through practices like mindfulness or therapy, and consistently upholding one's own boundaries and needs. This journey of self-discovery and self-reclamation is not a linear path, and there will be days when the pain resurfaces, when doubt creeps in. But with each conscious step taken towards healing, with each act of self-compassion, the inner strength grows, and the vision of a fulfilling future, independent of a past relationship, becomes clearer and more vibrant. This is about understanding that you are, in yourself, complete and worthy of love, not just from others, but most importantly, from yourself. This unwavering self-acceptance is the true foundation upon which a new, stronger, and more authentic life can be built. This unwavering self-acceptance is the true foundation upon which a new, stronger, and more authentic life can be built. It is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, a declaration that one's worth is intrinsic, not contingent upon external validation or the presence of another. This understanding, once truly internalized, transforms not just how one views themselves, but how they interact with the world and what they attract into their lives. It's a powerful shift from seeking completion in another to realizing completeness within. The journey through the aftermath of a breakup or divorce often feels like navigating a dense fog, where familiar landmarks have vanished and the path ahead is obscured. It's in these moments of profound disorientation that the wisdom of Carl Jung becomes particularly illuminating. Jung spoke extensively about the individuation process, the psychological journey of integrating the conscious and unconscious, ultimately leading to a more whole and authentic self. A breakup, while painful, can paradoxically serve as a catalyst for this very process. When a significant relationship ends, the ego often feels shattered. The identity that was intertwined with the partnership is suddenly adrift. This can be terrifying, yet it also presents an unparalleled opportunity for self-discovery. It forces one to confront aspects of themselves that may have been suppressed or neglected within the confines of the relationship. It's a chance to ask, who am I, truly, outside of this partnership? What are my individual desires, my unfulfilled potentials, my authentic voice? This period of introspection, though uncomfortable, is crucial for emerging stronger and more self-aware. It's about reclaiming parts of oneself that might have been compromised or forgotten, integrating them back into a cohesive, empowered identity. Moreover, understanding the dynamics of attachment, as explored by various psychological theories, can provide immense clarity during this period. Often, the intensity of pain after a breakup stems not just from the loss of the person, but from the disruption of an established attachment pattern. Recognizing one's own attachment style, whether anxious, avoidant, or secure, can shed light on why certain relationship patterns emerge and why the ending feels so devastating. This self-awareness is not about assigning blame, but about gaining insight, fostering compassion for oneself, and developing healthier relational strategies for the future. It's about transforming old wounds into wisdom, using the pain as a guide to understand deeper emotional needs and how to meet them in a more balanced way. The concept of radical acceptance, a cornerstone of many therapeutic modalities, also plays a pivotal role. This isn't about liking the situation or approving of what happened. It's about acknowledging the reality of the present moment without resistance, fighting against what is only prolonged suffering. Radical acceptance means recognizing that the relationship has ended, that the pain is real, and that these feelings are valid without judgment. It's a powerful act of surrender, not to defeat, but to the truth of the situation, which paradoxically opens the door to moving forward. Once reality is accepted, energy that was previously spent on resistance can be redirected towards healing and rebuilding. Mel Robbins' work on the 5-second rule can be incredibly effective here, providing a simple yet powerful tool to interrupt negative thought patterns and propel oneself into action, even when motivation is low. Instead of dwelling on the past, one can use this technique to initiate small, positive steps towards self-care or new activities. This entire process, from the initial shock of loss to the gradual re-emergence of self, is fundamentally about growth. It's about transforming a period of intense vulnerability into one of profound strength. It demands courage to face uncomfortable truths, resilience to navigate emotional storms, and faith in the possibility of a brighter future. It's a testament to the human capacity for adaptation and renewal. Each tear shed, each moment of doubt overcome, each small victory in reclaiming one's life contributes to a deeper understanding of self-worth and an unshakable belief in one's own ability to thrive, independently and authentically. This isn't merely surviving a breakup. It's about evolving through it, emerging not just intact, but elevated. It's about demonstrating that even from the ashes of a lost love, a more beautiful, more resilient self can rise, ready to embrace new beginnings with wisdom and grace. The path is not easy, but it is deeply rewarding, leading to a life built on a foundation of self-respect and genuine happiness, irrespective of external circumstances. This journey of transformation, though deeply personal, is also profoundly spiritual. For those who hold Christian values close, this period of vulnerability can become an unexpected, powerful encounter with divine grace. The scriptures often speak of seasons of weeping and seasons of joy, of trials that refine faith like gold. A breakup, in this light, isn't merely a personal tragedy, but an opportunity for spiritual deepening, a chance to lean more heavily on God's strength when one's own feels depleted. It invites a reevaluation of one's identity, not just in relation to another person, but in relation to a higher purpose. This perspective shifts the narrative from one of loss to one of profound reorientation, where personal suffering can be offered up and transformed into spiritual growth. It encourages a reliance on prayer, on community, and on the timeless wisdom of faith to navigate the turbulent waters of heartbreak. Embracing this spiritual dimension means understanding that one's worth is not defined by a relationship status or another person's affection, but by an inherent, divinely bestowed value. This foundational truth can be incredibly liberating. It counters the worldly narrative that often ties self-worth to external validation, offering instead an unshakable sense of belovedness. The pain, while real, can be seen as a crucible, burning away attachments that may have become idols, clearing space for a more authentic, God-centered self to emerge. This isn't about denying the pain, but about contextualizing it within a larger, redemptive framework. It allows for grieving, but also for hope, rooted in the belief that even in brokenness, there is a path to wholeness and renewal through faith. Beyond the spiritual, the psychological insights offered by figures like Carl Jung provide another powerful lens through which to view this transformative period. Jung's concept of individuation, the process by which an individual becomes a whole, distinct person, resonates deeply with the post-breakup journey. A relationship, particularly a long-term one, often involves a degree of merging, where individual identities become intertwined. When this bond dissolves, it forces a confrontation with the self, a painful but necessary disentanglement. This is a chance to reclaim parts of oneself that may have been suppressed or neglected in the relationship, to explore dormant interests, and to cultivate a more robust sense of self-sufficiency. It's an invitation to embark on an inner journey, a descent into the shadow aspects of one's psyche, to integrate them and emerge more complete. Jungian psychology also emphasizes the importance of archetypes and the collective unconscious. Understanding that one's experience of heartbreak is not unique, but part of a universal human narrative of loss, suffering, and renewal can be immensely comforting. It connects the individual to a broader tapestry of human experience, reducing feelings of isolation and shame. The journey of the wounded healer, for instance, is an archetype that suggests profound wisdom can emerge from personal suffering. This perspective transforms the breakup from a personal failing into a heroic journey of self-discovery, where the trials faced contribute to a deeper understanding of the human condition and a greater capacity for empathy and compassion, both for oneself and for others. Moreover, the insights of Dr. Gabor Maté regarding trauma and attachment become particularly salient here. Many breakups, especially those involving tumultuous dynamics, can trigger unresolved attachment wounds from childhood. The intensity of emotional reactions, the feelings of abandonment or rejection, often have roots in earlier experiences. Maté's work encourages a compassionate inquiry into these deeper patterns, recognizing that the current pain is not just about the recent loss, but also about echoes of past hurts. This understanding is crucial for healing, as it shifts the focus from blaming the ex-partner or oneself to understanding the underlying emotional landscape. It's about recognizing that the body keeps the score, and that true healing requires acknowledging and processing these cumulative wounds, not just the most recent one. Maté advocates for self-compassion and curiosity in examining these patterns, rather than judgment. This approach helps to dismantle self-blame and fosters a more nurturing relationship with oneself. It's about asking, what does this pain need from me, rather than what's wrong with me? This shift in internal dialogue is foundational for moving from a place of victimhood to one of empowered self-care. It also highlights the importance of creating a safe and supportive internal environment for healing, recognizing that the nervous system, often dysregulated by the stress of a breakup, needs gentle attention and regulation. This might involve practices like mindfulness, deep breathing, or seeking therapeutic support to gently guide the system back to a state of calm and integration. Tony Robbins, with his focus on peak performance and changing limiting beliefs, offers practical tools for actively reshaping one's internal state and future trajectory. While some might view his approach as overly pragmatic for emotional pain, his emphasis on taking control of one's physiology and focus can be incredibly empowering during a breakup. When feelings of helplessness and despair threaten to engulf, Robbins' techniques encourage intentional shifts in posture, language, and focus to break negative emotional patterns. This isn't about denying sadness, but about preventing it from becoming a permanent state. It's about understanding that while pain is inevitable, suffering is often a choice, fueled by disempowering beliefs and habitual thought patterns. His strategies for identifying and reframing limiting beliefs, such as "I'm not lovable" or "I'll never find anyone else," are particularly relevant. By consciously challenging these internal narratives and replacing them with empowering ones, individuals can begin to reprogram their subconscious mind for resilience and self-worth. This proactive approach, combined with the deeper psychological and spiritual work, creates a holistic pathway to healing. It empowers individuals to not just passively recover, but to actively design a future that is more aligned with their true desires and values, leveraging the pain of the past as fuel for an extraordinary future. This blend of introspection and action forms a powerful antidote to the inertia and despair that often follow a significant loss. This active redesign of one's internal world, championed by Robbins, finds a profound complement in the insights of Mel Robbins, particularly her 5-second rule. While seemingly simplistic, this rule is a powerful tool for interrupting the inertia of overthinking and self-doubt that often paralyzes individuals after a breakup. When the urge to wallow, to scroll through old photos, or to send that ill-advised text message arises, the 5-second rule offers a mechanism to override the brain's natural tendency towards comfort and procrastination. It's about counting down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then immediately taking an action, however small, that moves one towards a desired positive outcome. This rule isn't about ignoring pain. It's about preventing pain from turning into prolonged suffering through inaction. It's a practical, actionable strategy for building momentum, one small decision at a time. For someone grappling with the emotional wreckage of a broken relationship, initiating even simple self-care routines or reaching out to a supportive friend can feel monumental. The 5-second rule provides that crucial push, transforming an intention into an action, bridging the gap between knowing what one should do and actually doing it. It cultivates a habit of courage, training the brain to respond to positive impulses rather than allowing negative emotions to dictate behavior. This immediate action, however minor, starts to rewire neural pathways, fostering a sense of agency and control where helplessness once resided. Beyond the immediate action, Mel Robbins emphasizes the importance of self-talk and building confidence through consistent, small wins. Each time the 5-second rule is applied to overcome procrastination or fear, it reinforces a belief in one's capacity to act, to change, to heal. This accumulation of small acts of courage builds a robust foundation of self-trust, which is indispensable during a period of emotional vulnerability. It's about recognizing that motivation often follows action, rather than preceding it. By taking that initial step, even when one doesn't feel like it, motivation is generated, creating an upward spiral of positive change and renewed self-belief. Jungian psychology, on the other hand, offers a deeper, more archetypal lens through which to understand the transformative potential of a breakup. Carl Jung believed that life's crises, including the profound loss of a relationship, are often invitations for individuation, the process of becoming a whole, integrated self. This period of intense emotional upheaval, while painful, can be seen as a necessary descent into the shadow, a confrontation with unconscious aspects of oneself that were perhaps projected onto the partner or avoided altogether within the relationship. The end of a significant relationship often shatters the ego's comfortable illusions, forcing an encounter with the raw, unadorned self. Jung's concept of the shadow is particularly relevant here. A breakup can illuminate those parts of ourselves we deny or suppress, aspects that might have been compensated for or hidden within the dynamics of the partnership. By withdrawing projections from the former partner, recognizing that certain qualities, both positive and negative, were aspects of one's own psyche, a powerful opportunity for self-reclamation emerges. This process can be disorienting and painful, as it involves acknowledging and integrating previously disowned parts of the self. Yet, it is through this courageous confrontation with the shadow that true psychological growth and wholeness can occur. The grief and emptiness felt after a breakup, when viewed through a Jungian lens, are not merely losses, but also invitations for the emergence of new archetypal energies. The wounded healer archetype, for instance, can be activated, transforming personal pain into a source of wisdom and compassion for others. The hero's journey often begins with a separation or loss, compelling the individual into the unknown, where challenges lead to profound self-discovery and the acquisition of new inner resources. This perspective reframes the breakup from a purely negative event to a powerful catalyst for profound spiritual and psychological evolution. Moreover, Jung emphasized the importance of the unconscious and dreams as pathways to understanding these deeper processes. Paying attention to dreams, symbols, and synchronicities during this period can offer profound insights into the psyche's attempts to heal and reorient itself. The unconscious, far from being a chaotic realm, is seen as a source of wisdom and guidance, constantly striving for integration and balance. Engaging with these inner dialogues, perhaps through journaling, active imagination, or working with a Jungian analyst, can illuminate the path forward, revealing the inherent meaning and purpose within the suffering. It helps individuals understand that even in moments of perceived brokenness, there is an innate drive towards wholeness and renewal within the psyche. This profound journey into the self, guided by Jungian principles, encourages a deep respect for the soul's process, recognizing that healing is not just about moving on, but about growing into a more complete and authentic version of oneself. The journey of self-reclamation, while deeply personal, is rarely meant to be walked in complete isolation. As we navigate the complex terrain of post-breakup recovery, the wisdom of community and faith can become an invaluable compass. Christian values, often centered on themes of forgiveness, grace, and divine love, offer a profound framework for understanding and transcending the pain of loss. Forgiveness, not as an act of condoning harm, but as a release from the bondage of resentment, becomes a cornerstone. It's a conscious decision to let go of the anger and bitterness that can otherwise consume the heart, preventing genuine healing. This doesn't mean forgetting the pain or minimizing the hurt, but rather choosing to free oneself from its perpetual grasp. Grace, another central tenet, reminds us that we are not defined by our past mistakes or the failures of a relationship. It speaks to an unmerited favor, a boundless love that extends even in moments of profound brokenness. Embracing grace means extending compassion to oneself, acknowledging imperfections, and understanding that healing is a process, not a destination. It's about recognizing that even in moments of perceived weakness, there is inherent worth and dignity. This divine love, often described as unconditional, offers a powerful antidote to the feelings of unworthiness or abandonment that often accompany a breakup, fostering a sense of belonging and intrinsic value. From a Christian perspective, the period following a breakup can be viewed as an opportunity for spiritual deepening. It's a time to lean into faith, to seek solace and guidance in prayer, and to cultivate a closer relationship with God. This spiritual anchor can provide immense strength and perspective, helping to reframe the experience of loss within a larger narrative of purpose and redemption. The belief that all things work together for good, even if the good is not immediately apparent, can offer a glimmer of hope during the darkest hours. This isn't about bypassing the pain, but about finding meaning within it, trusting that there is a divine plan unfolding, even when human understanding falls short. The community of faith also plays a crucial role. Surrounding oneself with supportive individuals who share similar values can provide a much-needed sense of belonging and understanding. These are the people who can offer a listening ear, a comforting presence, and practical assistance when needed. They can remind us of our inherent worth, reflect God's love, and help us navigate the practical and emotional challenges of rebuilding life. This communal support acts as a buffer against isolation, a common and destructive byproduct of heartbreak, fostering a sense of connection and shared humanity. Moreover, the act of serving others, another core Christian principle, can be incredibly therapeutic. Shifting focus from personal pain to contributing to the well-being of others can provide a renewed sense of purpose and perspective. Whether through volunteering, supporting a friend in need, or engaging in acts of kindness, altruism has a powerful way of lifting the spirit and reminding us of our capacity for positive impact, even amidst our own struggles. It's a practical application of love that extends beyond the self, fostering a sense of gratitude and interconnectedness. The integration of these Christian values into the healing process offers a holistic approach to recovery. It addresses not only the emotional and psychological wounds, but also nurtures the spiritual dimension of being. It encourages a perspective that sees adversity not as an end, but as a crucible for growth, a sacred space where resilience is forged and faith is deepened. This profound journey, embraced with an open heart and guided by unwavering faith, transforms the landscape of loss into a fertile ground for renewal, leading to a more profound understanding of self, others, and the divine. This is not to say the path is easy, but it is one paved with hope, grace, and an enduring love that transcends all earthly attachments, ultimately leading to a more authentic and purposeful life. The strength found in this spiritual grounding allows for the rebuilding of self on a foundation far more enduring than any fleeting relationship could offer. This spiritual grounding allows for the rebuilding of self on a foundation far more enduring than any fleeting relationship could offer. It is a process of recognizing one's inherent value, not because of who one is with, but because of who one is in the eyes of a loving Creator. This intrinsic worth becomes the bedrock upon which a new, more resilient self can be constructed, impervious to the shifting sands of external validation. Now, let's transition from the spiritual to the psychological, integrating the profound insights of Gabor Maté. Maté's work often highlights the deep-seated impact of early experiences and attachment styles on our adult relationships. He posits that much of our suffering stems from unmet childhood needs, which can manifest as a desperate longing for connection and validation in romantic partnerships. When a breakup occurs, it can trigger these old wounds, bringing to the surface feelings of abandonment, inadequacy, or not being enough. Understanding this dynamic is crucial for healing. It's not just about the loss of a partner, it's often about the reverberation of past hurts. Maté encourages us to look inward, to compassionately explore the origins of our relational patterns. He suggests that we often seek in others what we believe we lack within ourselves. A breakup, therefore, becomes an invitation to embark on a journey of self-discovery, to become our own primary source of love and acceptance. This isn't a selfish act. It's a necessary step towards building healthier, more authentic relationships in the future. By acknowledging and addressing these underlying vulnerabilities, we can begin to disentangle our self-worth from external relationships, fostering a sense of inner completeness. This introspection, while sometimes painful, is ultimately liberating. It allows us to recognize that the intense emotional reactions we experience during a breakup are often echoes of earlier, unresolved traumas. Instead of blaming ourselves or our former partners, we can approach these feelings with curiosity and kindness, asking, what old wound is being activated here? What part of me needs attention and healing? This self-compassionate inquiry, a cornerstone of Maté's philosophy, paves the way for genuine emotional repair. It shifts the focus from what went wrong to what can I learn about myself. Moving forward, we can incorporate the wisdom of Carl Jung, who spoke extensively about the process of individuation, the journey towards becoming a whole, integrated self. A breakup, in Jungian terms, can be seen as a powerful catalyst for this process. It disrupts the ego's identification with the relationship, forcing us to confront our shadow aspects, those parts of ourselves we might have suppressed or projected onto our partner. This confrontation, though challenging, is essential for growth. It's an opportunity to reclaim fragmented parts of our psyche and integrate them into a more complete self. Jung believed that true healing comes from embracing our totality, including our imperfections and vulnerabilities. A breakup often strips away the illusions we held about ourselves or the relationship, revealing our raw, unadorned self. This can be terrifying, but it is also profoundly empowering. It's in this space of vulnerability that authentic self-acceptance can begin to flourish. We learn to stand on our own 2 feet, not as half of a pair, but as a complete individual, capable of navigating life's challenges with inner strength and resilience. The archetype of the wounded healer resonates strongly here. Through the experience of loss and subsequent healing, we develop a deeper empathy and understanding, not just for ourselves, but for others who are also navigating similar emotional landscapes. This journey of individuation, often sparked by significant life transitions like a breakup, is not about becoming perfect, but about becoming more whole, more conscious, and more authentically ourselves. It is a continuous process, a lifelong endeavor of self-discovery and integration. Each step taken in this journey, no matter how small, contributes to a richer, more meaningful existence, one that is grounded in self-knowledge and inner wisdom. The pain of separation, therefore, becomes a forge in which a stronger, more integrated self is created, ready to face the world with renewed purpose and a deeper understanding of its own intrinsic value. This journey, illuminated by the insights of Jung, emphasizes that true recovery is not simply moving on, but moving inward, to uncover and embrace the full spectrum of one's being. This profound journey of self-discovery, however, often requires active engagement and strategic thinking, something Tony Robbins masterfully champions. Robbins emphasizes the power of decision and immediate action in transforming one's life. He would argue that while introspection is crucial, it must be paired with decisive steps forward. A breakup, for all its emotional turmoil, presents a critical juncture, a defining moment where we can choose to succumb to despair or consciously embark on a path of reinvention. This isn't about ignoring the pain. It's about channeling that pain into purpose, transforming it into fuel for personal growth. Robbins's philosophy encourages us to identify the limiting beliefs that hold us back and then systematically dismantle them. In the context of a breakup, these might be beliefs like, "I am unlovable, I'll never find anyone else," or "My happiness depends on a partner." By consciously challenging and replacing these narratives with empowering ones, "I am worthy of love. I am capable of creating my own happiness." This is an opportunity for a new beginning. We begin to shift our internal landscape. Robbins's concept of state change is particularly relevant here. When we feel overwhelmed by sadness, anger, or fear, we are in a disempowering state. He advocates for changing our physiology, our focus, and our language to immediately alter our emotional state. This could mean engaging in physical activity, focusing on gratitude, or deliberately choosing words that uplift rather than diminish us. For someone navigating the aftermath of a breakup, this might translate into forcing oneself to go for a run, even when every fiber of their being wants to stay in bed, or intentionally listing 3 things they are grateful for, despite the heartache. These small, consistent actions, as Robbins teaches, accumulate into significant transformations. They are not quick fixes, but rather deliberate practices designed to rewire our neural pathways and build resilience. The goal is not to pretend the pain doesn't exist, but to consciously choose how we respond to it, moving from a reactive stance to a proactive one. Furthermore, Robbins stresses the importance of having a compelling future vision. When a relationship ends, the future we envisioned often collapses. It's vital, then, to create a new, inspiring vision for our lives, independent of a partner. What kind of person do we want to become? What experiences do we want to create? What contributions do we want to make? By clearly defining this new future, we create a powerful magnet that pulls us forward, providing direction and motivation amidst the uncertainty. This vision acts as a beacon, guiding us through the fog of grief and helping us to rebuild a life that is even more fulfilling than the one we lost. It's about understanding that the end of one chapter is simply the beginning of another, and we are the authors of this new narrative. This active, intentional approach to healing finds a powerful echo in the work of Mel Robbins, particularly her 5-second rule. Mel Robbins asserts that if you have an instinct to act on a goal, you must physically move within 5 seconds, or your brain will kill it. This simple yet profound rule is a potent antidote to procrastination and overthinking, both of which can be debilitating after a breakup. The urge to reach out to an ex, to wallow in self-pity, or to simply do nothing can be incredibly strong. The 5-second rule provides a mechanism to interrupt these destructive patterns. When the thought arises to call an ex, to scroll through old photos, or to cancel plans with friends, the rule prompts immediate action in the opposite direction. Count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, and then physically do something constructive. Get out of bed, go for a walk, text a friend, start a new project. This isn't about suppressing feelings. It's about preventing feelings from dictating unproductive or harmful behaviors. It's about creating a micro-intervention that shifts us from contemplation to action, from inertia to momentum. For someone reeling from a breakup, the smallest positive action can feel monumental. The 5-second rule empowers individuals to take those crucial first steps, breaking the cycle of inaction and despair. It teaches us that courage isn't the absence of fear, but the willingness to act despite it. Every time we apply the rule and choose a constructive action, we are building new mental pathways, reinforcing our agency, and demonstrating to ourselves that we are capable of moving forward. This consistent, small-scale momentum is what ultimately builds the confidence and resilience needed to navigate the larger emotional landscape of healing. It's a practical, actionable tool that bridges the gap between knowing what we should do and actually doing it, transforming intentions into tangible progress. The cumulative effect of these small, deliberate acts of courage can be truly transformative, catalyzing a profound shift in one's overall well-being and outlook. This consistent, small-scale momentum is what ultimately builds the confidence and resilience needed to navigate the larger emotional landscape of healing. It's a practical, actionable tool that bridges the gap between knowing what we should do and actually doing it, transforming intentions into tangible progress. The cumulative effect of these small, deliberate acts of courage can be truly transformative, catalyzing a profound shift in one's overall well-being and outlook. Welcome back, dear friends. If you're just joining us, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel to become part of our community dedicated to healing and growth. We are diving deep into the intricate process of recovery after a significant relationship loss, exploring tools and perspectives that empower us to not just survive, but to thrive. Today, we turn our attention to the profound wisdom embedded in Christian values, understanding how faith can serve as an unshakable anchor in the storm of heartbreak. For many, a breakup isn't just the loss of a partner. It's the shattering of a shared future, a disruption of identity, and often, a crisis of faith. The questions can be overwhelming. Why did this happen? Where is God in my pain? How can I ever trust again? Christian teachings offer a framework for understanding suffering not as a punishment, but as an opportunity for growth, a crucible in which character is refined. The Bible, particularly, is replete with narratives of loss, lament, and ultimately, redemption. It encourages us to bring our whole messy selves to God, to lay bare our anger, our sadness, and our confusion. The Psalms, for instance, are a testament to the raw honesty of human emotion poured out before a divine presence, demonstrating that it is not only permissible, but essential to express our true feelings. This isn't about bypassing the pain with platitudes. It's about acknowledging that even in our deepest valleys, we are not alone. The concept of God as a loving Father, a comforter and a healer, provides immense solace. It reminds us that our worth is not derived from our relationship status or from another person's validation, but from our intrinsic value as creations of God. This divine affirmation can be a powerful antidote to the feelings of unworthiness and rejection that often accompany a breakup. It shifts the focus from external validation to internal spiritual grounding. Moreover, Christian values emphasize forgiveness, not just for the ex-partner, but also for ourselves. Holding on to resentment and bitterness acts like a poison, corroding our own spirit. Forgiveness, in this context, is not about condoning harmful behavior or forgetting the pain. It is about releasing ourselves from the prison of anger and allowing God to handle justice. It's a conscious decision to let go of the need for revenge and to embrace a path of spiritual freedom. This process can be incredibly challenging, but it is deeply liberating. It also extends to self-forgiveness for perceived mistakes during the relationship or for the pain we might have caused ourselves. Grace, a cornerstone of Christian faith, reminds us that we are all flawed and that healing often begins with extending the same compassion to ourselves that we would offer to a friend. Another crucial aspect is the concept of community. The church, or any spiritual gathering, can provide a vital network of support during a time of isolation. Surrounding ourselves with people who share similar values and who can offer prayer, encouragement, and practical help creates a buffer against loneliness and despair. This communal support reinforces the idea that we are part of something larger than ourselves, a family united by faith and a common purpose. It offers opportunities for service, allowing us to shift our focus from our own pain to helping others, which can be incredibly therapeutic. Engaging in acts of kindness and service, even small ones, can redirect our energy outwards and foster a sense of purpose and connection. Finally, the Christian perspective offers hope, not a naive optimism, but a profound, enduring hope rooted in the belief in resurrection and new beginnings. The end of a relationship, while painful, is not the end of our story. It can be seen as a period of pruning, where old branches are cut away so that new, stronger growth can emerge. This perspective encourages us to trust that even in seemingly barren seasons, God is working all things for our good, shaping us into resilient, compassionate individuals. It invites us to surrender our anxieties and fears to a higher power, trusting in divine timing and purpose. This surrender is not passive resignation, but an active trust that allows us to release control and find peace amidst uncertainty. It enables us to move forward with courage, knowing that even when the path is unclear, we are guided and sustained by an unwavering love. This spiritual foundation provides a deep well of strength to draw upon, fostering true inner peace and resilience in the face of adversity. This profound understanding of faith helps us to navigate the complexities of heartbreak, transforming our pain into a pathway for spiritual growth and renewed purpose. This spiritual foundation provides a deep well of strength to draw upon, fostering true inner peace and resilience in the face of adversity. This profound understanding of faith helps us to navigate the complexities of heartbreak, transforming our pain into a pathway for spiritual growth and renewed purpose. Now, let's transition from the spiritual to the practical, integrating insights from contemporary psychology and self-development. While faith provides the bedrock, tools and techniques from thinkers like Gabor Maté, Esther Perel, Carl Jung, Tony Robbins, and Mel Robbins offer actionable strategies for navigating the emotional landscape of a breakup. It's about combining the wisdom of ancient traditions with the efficacy of modern approaches. Gabor Maté's work on trauma and addiction offers a crucial lens through which to understand the intensity of post-breakup pain. He argues that much of our suffering stems from unmet needs and unresolved childhood wounds. A breakup can act as a trigger, reactivating old patterns of abandonment, rejection, or inadequacy. Recognizing this connection is the first step towards healing. Instead of simply trying to get over it, Maté encourages us to delve deeper, to acknowledge the raw pain, and to understand its origins. He teaches us that our emotional responses, however overwhelming, are often adaptive mechanisms developed in earlier life to cope with difficult circumstances. When a relationship ends, these old coping strategies may no longer serve us and can even hinder our recovery. The journey then becomes one of compassionate inquiry. What is this pain trying to tell me about myself? What unmet needs are being highlighted? This introspection, while challenging, is essential for true, lasting healing, rather than just superficial recovery. It allows us to process the grief not just as a loss of a partner, but as an opportunity to address deeper emotional patterns. Esther Perel, with her profound understanding of relationships, reminds us that the end of a partnership is rarely a clear-cut story of good versus bad. Her work often explores the nuances of human connection, highlighting how even in endings, there can be lessons about ourselves and our relational patterns. Perel might encourage us to reflect on the stories we tell ourselves about the breakup. Are they empowering, or do they keep us stuck in victimhood? She emphasizes the importance of understanding the complexity of our emotional lives, and how love and loss are often intertwined. Her perspective helps us move beyond simplistic blame and into a more mature understanding of what transpired. It's about acknowledging the shared responsibility in the dynamic and learning from the experience, rather than simply moving on without genuine insight. This mature reflection, fostered by Perel's insights, transforms the breakup from a mere ending into a profound learning experience, enriching our capacity for future relationships. Carl Jung's analytical psychology provides a framework for understanding the deeper, unconscious processes at play. A breakup can feel like a profound loss of self because, in a relationship, we often project aspects of our anima or animus onto our partner, or we integrate parts of our identity around them. When the relationship ends, these projections are shattered, and we are left to reclaim those aspects of ourselves. Jung would encourage us to explore the archetypal patterns surfacing in our grief. The archetype of the wounded healer, the orphan, or the lover. These archetypes offer a symbolic language for our experience, allowing us to find meaning in the chaos. The process of individuation, central to Jungian thought, is about becoming a whole, integrated self, independent of external relationships. A breakup, though painful, can be a potent catalyst for this journey of self-discovery and integration, pushing us to confront our shadow aspects and embrace our true essence. It's about finding the gold within the darkness, transforming psychic wounds into sources of strength. Tony Robbins, the master of personal development, offers a more direct, action-oriented approach. He would challenge us to shift our state, to break free from limiting beliefs and disempowering patterns. Robbins' philosophy emphasizes that emotion is created by motion. When we feel stuck, physically changing our posture, breathing, or environment can dramatically alter our emotional state. He would advocate for setting new, compelling goals that pull us forward, rather than allowing the past to define us. His concept of pattern interruption is particularly useful. When we find ourselves spiraling into negative thoughts or behaviors, we consciously interrupt that pattern with a new action. This could be anything from a sudden burst of physical activity to a radically different thought process. For Robbins, a breakup is not an end, but an opportunity to redefine our standards, to identify what we truly want, and to commit to becoming the person who can attract and sustain that desire. It's about taking radical responsibility for our emotional landscape and proactively shaping our future. Finally, Mel Robbins introduces the power of the 5-second rule, a simple yet profoundly effective tool for overcoming procrastination and initiating action. In the throes of a breakup, inertia can be overwhelming. We know we should exercise, call a friend, or work on a project, but the motivation feels absent. Mel Robbins' rule states that if you have an impulse to act on a goal, you must physically move within 5 seconds, or your brain will kill the idea. This isn't about deep emotional processing, but about bypassing the overthinking and self-doubt that often paralyze us. It's a mechanism for creating momentum, for taking small, consistent steps forward, even when we don't feel like it. Applying the 5-second rule to post-breakup recovery means counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, and immediately engaging in a positive action. Getting out of bed, sending that email, putting on workout clothes. These small acts of courage accumulate, building confidence and chipping away at the inertia of grief. It's a powerful tool for rebuilding discipline and agency when our emotional resources feel depleted. By integrating these diverse perspectives, the spiritual grounding of Christian values with the psychological depth of Maté and Jung, the relational insights of Perel, and the action-oriented strategies of Robbins, we create a holistic framework for not just surviving a breakup, but thriving beyond it. It's about understanding the pain, learning from the experience, reclaiming our authentic selves, and proactively building a future filled with purpose and joy. This journey is not linear, nor is it easy, but it is profoundly transformative. It invites us to see the end of a relationship not as a personal failure, but as a crucible for growth, a sacred opportunity to become more resilient, more compassionate, and more deeply connected to our true selves and to a loving Creator. Remember, your worth is not tied to a relationship status, but to the inherent value bestowed upon you. This holistic framework, integrating spiritual and psychological insights with actionable strategies, guides individuals through the intricate landscape of post-breakup recovery. It acknowledges the multifaceted nature of human experience, recognizing that healing requires attention to the soul, mind, and body. The journey of overcoming a breakup, while deeply personal and often painful, is also a profound opportunity for self-discovery and spiritual deepening. It is in these moments of vulnerability and loss that one often finds the greatest strength and clarity, forging a path toward a more authentic and purposeful life. The initial shock and grief following a breakup can feel overwhelming, a dense fog obscuring any hope of a brighter future. The world, once vibrant and full of shared dreams, suddenly appears monochromatic, tinged with sorrow. Emotions cascade unpredictably. Anger, sadness, confusion, and despair intermingle, creating an internal tempest. It's crucial during this tumultuous period to acknowledge these feelings without judgment. Suppressing emotions only prolongs the healing process, pushing the pain deeper into the subconscious, where it can fester and manifest in unhealthy ways. Instead, one must create a safe space for these emotions to be felt, processed, and eventually released. This doesn't mean wallowing in self-pity, but rather engaging in mindful acceptance of the present reality, however uncomfortable it may be. As the initial wave of acute pain begins to recede, a sense of emptiness often takes its place. The routines, habits, and even the identity interwoven with the former partner leave a void. This void can be disorienting, triggering questions about self-worth and future purpose. "Who am I now without them?" is a common lament, reflecting a temporary loss of self-definition. This is where the wisdom of Jung becomes particularly relevant, encouraging an exploration of the inner landscape, an individuation process that reclaims the unique essence of the self. It is an invitation to reconnect with passions, hobbies, and personal values that may have been sidelined during the relationship. This period of introspection is not about finding a replacement for what was lost, but about rediscovering the inherent richness and completeness of one's own being. The temptation to rush into another relationship, or to distract oneself with superficial pursuits, can be strong during this vulnerable time. However, true healing requires patience and a commitment to inner work. Gabor Maté's insights into trauma and attachment highlight the importance of understanding the underlying patterns that may have contributed to the relationship's demise. Without this awareness, one risks repeating similar dynamics in future connections. This is not about assigning blame, but about cultivating self-compassion and taking responsibility for one's own healing journey. It involves developing healthier coping mechanisms, setting firm boundaries, and learning to soothe oneself in times of distress. It's a journey of self-parenting, offering oneself the unconditional love and support that may have been lacking in the past. Christian values offer a profound source of solace and guidance throughout this process. The belief in a loving, omniscient God provides an anchor in the storm of emotional upheaval. Prayer and meditation become powerful tools for connecting with a higher purpose, reminding one that they are never truly alone. Scripture offers timeless wisdom on forgiveness, resilience, and the enduring nature of love. Not just romantic love, but divine love that transcends earthly relationships. Trusting in God's plan, even when it is unclear, can provide immense comfort and strength. This spiritual grounding encourages a perspective shift, viewing the breakup not as a punishment, but as a divinely orchestrated opportunity for growth, a refinement of the spirit that prepares one for greater blessings and deeper connections in the future. The practical wisdom of Tony Robbins and Mel Robbins then provides the actionable steps needed to translate these inner shifts into tangible progress. Once the emotional landscape has been acknowledged and the spiritual foundation reaffirmed, the focus shifts to creating a new, empowering reality. Robbins' emphasis on changing one's physiology and breaking negative patterns becomes invaluable. It's about consciously choosing to move, to breathe deeply, to engage in activities that uplift and energize. The 5-second rule by Mel Robbins is a simple yet revolutionary tool for overcoming inertia and taking immediate action. When the urge to wallow or procrastinate arises, counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, and immediately engaging in a positive task, whether it's exercising, connecting with a friend, or pursuing a creative project, bypasses the brain's tendency to overthink and self-sabotage. These small, consistent actions build momentum, chipping away at the inertia of grief and replacing it with a sense of agency and accomplishment. This comprehensive approach, weaving together the therapeutic insights of psychology, the spiritual wisdom of faith, and the pragmatic strategies of personal development, empowers individuals to not only survive a breakup, but to emerge from it stronger, wiser, and more deeply connected to their authentic selves. It is a testament to the human spirit's capacity for resilience and transformation, proving that even in the deepest valleys of sorrow, there lies the potential for profound growth and renewed purpose. The journey of healing is a testament to one's inner strength, a sacred pilgrimage back to self, guided by wisdom and sustained by faith. This journey of healing is not merely about surviving a breakup. It is about thriving in its aftermath, transforming pain into power, and rediscovering the boundless potential within. It is a profound act of self-love, a commitment to one's own well-being that transcends the immediate circumstances of a dissolved relationship. The integration of these diverse perspectives, psychological, spiritual, and practical, creates a robust framework for navigating the complex emotional landscape of loss and rebuilding. Each element serves a crucial purpose, interlocking to form a comprehensive strategy for personal transformation. The psychological insights, particularly from Jung and Gabor Maté, emphasize the importance of introspection and understanding the roots of one's relational patterns. This deep dive into the subconscious is not always comfortable, but it is unequivocally necessary for sustainable change. Unearthing past wounds, acknowledging attachment styles, and recognizing the projections we cast onto our partners allows for a conscious disentanglement from unhealthy cycles. It's about becoming an active participant in one's own healing, rather than a passive recipient of circumstances. This self-awareness, cultivated through therapy, journaling, and honest self-reflection, is the bedrock upon which a new, healthier self is built. It's the courageous act of facing one's shadows, understanding their origins, and learning to integrate them into a more complete, authentic self. This process can be likened to Jung's concept of individuation, where one strives to become a whole, integrated person, rather than remaining fragmented by past experiences or societal expectations. It's a journey of embracing both the light and shadow within, recognizing that true strength comes from acknowledging and integrating all aspects of oneself. Esther Perel's wisdom on relationships, even in their dissolution, reminds us that every connection leaves an imprint, and that even endings can be fertile ground for growth. Her perspective encourages us to view breakups not as failures, but as opportunities for profound learning about ourselves and the nature of intimacy. It's about extracting the lessons, even the painful ones, and using them as stepping stones towards future, more fulfilling connections. This reframing prevents the descent into self-blame and despair, instead fostering a sense of curiosity and resilience. Perel's nuanced understanding of human connection teaches that relationships are complex tapestries, and their unraveling, while painful, can reveal intricate patterns that were previously unseen. This allows for a more compassionate understanding of both oneself and the former partner, fostering a sense of closure that goes beyond mere separation. It's about honoring the shared history while consciously choosing to move forward, carrying the wisdom gained, not the wounds. The spiritual pillar, rooted in Christian values, provides an unwavering source of hope and strength. In moments of profound sadness and uncertainty, turning to faith offers a solace that earthly remedies often cannot provide. The belief in a divine plan, even when it feels obscured by pain, instills a sense of purpose and meaning in the suffering. Prayer becomes a direct line to comfort, a profound act of surrendering anxieties and receiving spiritual sustenance. Scripture offers narratives of resilience, forgiveness, and redemption, reminding us that even in brokenness, there is potential for renewal. This spiritual grounding encourages a perspective where the breakup is not an end, but a transition, a divinely guided path towards a future filled with grace and blessings. It's about trusting that even when one door closes, God is preparing to open another, often one that leads to greater personal and spiritual fulfillment. This faith acts as a protective shield against despair, providing an inner peace that transcends external circumstances. It reinforces the idea that one's worth is not defined by a relationship status, but by their inherent value as a child of God. Finally, the practical, action-oriented strategies from Tony Robbins and Mel Robbins transform abstract understanding and spiritual comfort into tangible progress. Robbins' focus on changing one's state through physiology, movement, breath, posture, is a powerful antidote to inertia and depression. It's about actively choosing to shift one's emotional state, rather than waiting for it to change passively. The 5-second rule is a direct challenge to procrastination and self-doubt, a simple yet incredibly effective mechanism for initiating action. These tools empower individuals to take immediate, small steps that accumulate into significant momentum, breaking the cycle of rumination and inaction. They are about creating new habits, new patterns of thought and behavior that reinforce the journey of healing and growth. It's about building a new narrative for oneself, one that is characterized by strength, agency, and purpose. These practical strategies, when consistently applied, create a virtuous cycle. Action leads to accomplishment, which boosts confidence, which in turn fuels further action. This empowers individuals to reclaim their lives, one deliberate choice at a time. The combination of these forces, deep psychological insight, profound spiritual comfort, and pragmatic action, creates an unstoppable momentum towards healing and self-reclamation. It is a testament to the human capacity for transformation, proving that even from the ashes of a broken relationship, one can rise, renewed, and radiant. This comprehensive approach ensures that healing is not just superficial, but deeply ingrained, fostering a lasting sense of peace and wholeness. This holistic journey of healing, weaving together the threads of Jungian shadow work, Perel's relational wisdom, Maté's compassionate self-inquiry, Christian spiritual fortitude, and the actionable strategies of Robbins, culminates in a profound redefinition of self. It's a process that moves beyond merely surviving a breakup to thriving within a newly discovered sense of wholeness. The woman who embarked on this path, perhaps feeling lost and broken, emerges not just repaired, but fundamentally transformed. She understands her own complex inner landscape, acknowledging the shadows that once drove her choices and integrating them into a more complete self. She recognizes the intricate dance of relationships, not as a source of validation, but as an opportunity for growth and connection, rooted in self-respect. Her emotional wounds, once raw and debilitating, have begun to scar over, not as ugly blemishes, but as badges of resilience and wisdom. Maté's framework of understanding trauma as a response to unmet needs has empowered her to view her past not with self-blame, but with compassion, recognizing the context that shaped her. This understanding liberates her from the cycle of repeating past patterns, allowing her to approach future relationships with a newfound clarity and emotional intelligence. She has learned to listen to her body, to interpret its signals, and to engage in self-care practices that nurture her entire being, rather than seeking external solutions for internal emptiness. The spiritual foundation, cultivated through consistent prayer and reflection, provides an unshakable inner peace. She no longer fears solitude, for she has discovered a profound connection to something larger than herself, a divine love that transcends any earthly relationship. This faith has become her anchor, guiding her through storms and celebrating her triumphs. It's a realization that her identity is not contingent upon being in a relationship, but is intrinsically valuable and beloved. This spiritual awakening fosters a deep sense of gratitude, even for the experiences that brought her pain, as she recognizes them as crucibles for growth and spiritual refinement. With the practical tools from Tony and Mel Robbins, she has reestablished a sense of agency over her life. The once overwhelming task of rebuilding has been broken down into manageable, actionable steps. She has created new routines, embraced new challenges, and celebrated small victories, each one reinforcing her belief in her own capacity to create a fulfilling life. The 5-second rule has become a powerful mantra, pushing her past moments of hesitation and into decisive action. She has trained her mind to focus on possibilities rather than limitations, cultivating an optimistic outlook that fuels her forward momentum. This journey, while intensely personal, has also opened her up to new forms of connection. She has strengthened existing friendships, found solace in community, and perhaps even started exploring new interests that bring her joy and fulfillment. Her story, once a tale of loss, has become a testament to the power of resilience, self-discovery, and spiritual renewal. She stands as a beacon of hope for others, navigating similar heartbreak, embodying the truth that endings are often just disguised beginnings. The woman who once sought love and validation externally now radiates it from within. She is complete, not because she has found a new partner, but because she has found herself. She understands that true love begins with self-love, and that true happiness is an inside job. Her heartbreak was not an end, but a catalyst, propelling her toward a more authentic, purposeful, and joyful existence. She has not just moved on, she has moved inward, upward, and forward, becoming the architect of her own beautiful future. And so, as we conclude this profound exploration, remember that your journey is unique, but the principles of healing and growth are universal. Embrace the process, be kind to yourself, and trust in your inherent capacity for resilience. Thank you for joining me on this journey of understanding and transformation. If this message resonated with you, please like this video, subscribe to the channel for more insights, and share it with anyone who might benefit. Your support helps us continue to build a community focused on growth, healing, and empowered living. Until next